Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this virtual Scottish Learning Festival and this particular session, which is being led by staff from Fortrose Academy. Before we move on to the main presentation, can I just go through some protocols with you, please? If you would please remember to turn off your microphone when you're not speaking. This is to prevent any background noise or any interference. We would encourage you to be as present in the learning space as you can. Understanding sometimes in the virtual environment, you're tempted to go away and think of other things at the time, but we really want to encourage as much active participation in this session as possible. If you would like to use the chat pane to make a comment or ask a question for others in the session to see, please do so, or indeed use your virtual hand. You can also post any resources that you might think might be relevant or pertinent to the discussion in the chat pane. Please also use the chat pane to communicate any technical issues. You can also access the Speakeasy support chat function too, which is in the portal. If you lose connection, please do not panic. Just come back in following the joining instructions that you will already have received. We would very much encourage you, if you would like to tweet about your experience this afternoon, and please use the hashtag SLF online. But most importantly, we hope that you will enjoy this session. If you could perhaps move the slide on, please. So what I would like to say again is to thank you for attending this afternoon's session, which is entitled Developing Positive Outcomes for Young People Through Effective Intergenerational Working. I will introduce this session and then pass over to Val Patterson, Deputy Head Teacher at Fortrose Academy, for the main part of the session. During the presentation, as we've already mentioned, if you have any comment or questions, please post them in the chat pane and we'll pick them up at the end. So my name is Frances Graham and I was the Managing Inspector when Fortrose Academy was inspected in December 2019. Jo Nesson, one of my colleagues, is also on the call this afternoon, partly because of her genuine interest in this particular area, but also just in case I experience any technological or technical difficulties. So Fortrose Academy is a comprehensive 6-year secondary school which serves the Black Isle area of Ross-shire in Highland Council. It draws its pupils from 7 associated primary schools. At the time of the inspection, Gavin McLean had been the head teacher for approximately 15 months. He was at the time supported by 3 deputy head teachers who had been in post for approximately 9 years, Val herself for 5, and 1 in acting capacity for 2 weeks respectively. The inspection took place in December 2019. Fortrose had a short model inspection, which meant that we focused on learning, teaching and assessment, and raising attainment and achievement. While gathering our evidence, it was clear that the school played a key role within their community. The approach to partnership working was resulting in transformative change for individual young people. Young people were playing an active role in supporting others in the community, for example, through participation in programmes such as Black Isle Cares. By participating in this initiative, young people were developing empathy and resilience. Additionally, young people were developing skills in citizenship through engaging with community councils and the wellbeing in the Black Isle group. These programmes help to develop young people's wellbeing, allowing them to take more responsibility in the community. This was therefore highlighted as practice worth sharing more widely, and a sketch note was developed, which you're welcome to look at on the Education Scotland website. As explained earlier, if you have any comments or questions during this session, please use the chat pane and we will follow them up later. I'm now going to hand over to Val and her team to explain more about this initiative and how it has continued to develop. Val, over to you. Thank you.
lot of Thursday and seeing all the young folks.
Hello, my name is Fraser.
My name is Daphne.
Hello, I'm Danny.
Hello, I'm Anne, and I'm here enjoying playing Scrabble.
Me too.
My name's Callum.
And I'm Diane.
Hello, my name is Freya, and this is what makes me happy.
This is Ray.
Yes, and I was born in 1928.
What
The 26th is my birthday if you're going to buy me something.
And we like playing Uno.
Well, we do like playing Uno.
It's all about the
Hello, my name is Michael. Hello, and this is what makes us fire. Playing Scrabble on a Thursday with Black Isle Cares.
Thursday and seeing all the young folks.
Hello, my name is Danny.
Hi, Danny. My name is Andy.
And also that makes me smile as well.
We hope you have enjoyed our Highland Hello. Let me introduce myself. My name is Val Patterson and I am Deputy Head Support at Fortress Academy on the Black Isle, just north of Inverness. Live here with me is Margaret Rhinus, our Principal Teacher of Business Studies, and Wanda Mackay, our Youth Development Officer. This morning we have encountered some significant ICT problems, so we really hope that this presentation goes to plan. Wellbeing across the Black Isle has always been a priority. The wording on this slide means a lot to us. It summarises our approach to collaborative working, and we are very grateful to be offered this chance by Education Scotland to share the story of our intergenerational working, which is a key part of our overarching project, Wellbeing in the Black Isle. First of all, here is Anne MacDonald, our Highlands Senior Citizens Network Coordinator, with some background information about the demographic of the Black Isle.
The Black Isle is a fantastic place to live. Some people are born here and stay all their lives. Others move here with their young families. It's a popular place to retire. Most of these people want to grow old and die here. We celebrate the fact that the percentage of the population that is elderly is rising, and that it's predicted that this will continue until the late 2030s. In the 2011 census, the population of the Black Isle was 10,284, 21% of whom were 65 and over, and 9% of whom were 75 and over. The population projection figures for 2037 show that there's 10,600 people on the Black Isle. 35% of these will be 65 or over, and 18% would be 75 or over. So that's 114%, more than doubling of the number of people who are over 75. We know that many people want to live out their lives on the Black Isle, but there are major barriers to this. A number of our neighbours have to leave their homes against their wishes to receive care. Others struggle daily to cope. We are aware that if health and social care services are struggling to cope with increased demand, that situation is going to worsen unless we take action collectively to ensure that our communities are places with suitable, high quality services available to older people in need of care, people with disabilities and long-term conditions, and to all carers.
Anne is one of our key partners. As well as her role as Highlands Senior Citizens Network Coordinator, she is also one of our parents and a trustee with Black Isle Cares. You'll hear more about them later. This slide shows you what you can expect from this afternoon's presentation. We will outline the key partnership working that drives our project forward, and we'll show you some of the important milestones on our journey. We hope the presentation will be useful in outlining an approach that could be mirrored in other settings. This project has evolved over a number of years, and we have learned a lot as we have progressed. We don't claim to have all the answers, but we do believe our work in this area has had a significant impact, which we will outline during the presentation. You're now going to hear from Wanda.
I have been the Youth Development Officer in the Black Isle for the last 25 years, carrying out youth and community work. I work across the whole ASG, but I'm primarily based at Fortress Academy. The role of a Youth Development Officer in Highland is to work in our learning streams, to allow young people to get on, to get heard, and to get involved. These provide the framework for everything we do. Okay, so who do I work with? Our remit is to work with young people between the ages of 11 to 25 years old. We do, however, have a very inclusive attitude to our work to better allow us to meet the needs of the community. So our projects often cater for all ages, from early years to pensioners, and this, and knowing the needs of the community, has led to our involvement in intergenerational work. We do have a huge range of partners, but we have very good working relationships with Black Isle Cares, who are a key partner in our work, Highland Senior Citizens Network, and my employer, High Life Highland, who have been very supportive and flexibility in my remit. One of the most important partners we have is with Fortress Academy. The school have allowed me to base myself there, and this means I'm in close contact with young people, staff, and professionals. I know this doesn't happen everywhere, but for me, this has been invaluable. So where did it all start? It really all started with getting to know your techno. Through our good community relationships, we saw that there was a need for senior citizens to be supported with all things digital. We got a group of young people to think about a course and then invited the Golden Oldies into the school library for sessions. The course started with how to access Facebook to help them communicate with friends and family. For us, the 6 weeks session was a real insight into the lives and needs of our older folks. We moved on to help them set up email accounts, to shop online, and to help them set up internet banking, and to be aware of scams and online fraud. The sessions were hugely successful from both the young people's perspective and those that attended. The older and the younger generations learned transferable skills. They were taught at a pace that suited them, and they built trust in the young people they were working with on a weekly basis. So a course that was meant to last for 6 weeks has actually been on the go now for over 10 years, much to the delight of all. It turned out that in one of our groups there was a lady with Alzheimer's. So we looked into building awareness of this in the community and worked hard to receive the Dementia Friendly Community Award. The course to become a Dementia Friend is repeated each year, with many young people and indeed staff from the school benefiting, and thankfully we managed to keep this going during lockdown. If you come to Fortress Academy, you will find we're a dementia friendly school. Here's Nancy, who I call one of our recycled teenagers, to tell you her thoughts.
I found the techno classes hugely beneficial to me. Where I live, it's really isolated, so being digitally connected with others became a lifeline for me. I enjoyed learning together with the young people. They took things at my pace, which was super, and often repeated sessions for my benefit. They supported me to set up my own email account, do online food shops, fill in Alzheimer's Scotland application forms for grants to travel abroad. We shared lots and lots of memories, took lots of photos, and would really want to ask if you can please try and start this iPad class again.
Whilst doing these courses, we also ran community events, including fundraising activities and coffee mornings, etc. As our intergenerational provision grew, we expanded opportunities for young people and introduced Cook Well and Bake Well. We upskilled our team by completing food and hygiene courses, allowing the young folk to prepare food for our many events. One of the successful events we were able to host during COVID was a Marketon lunch. Our young people completed a course on Marketon and they wanted to share their skills with others. Our Cookville stars produced a buffet and invited local pensioners to come along to an outdoor session. A key part of our intergenerational work is constantly looking for opportunities to share our experiences, and hopefully this will bring a smile.
There should be more happiness, so much joy you can give. To each brand new bright tomorrow, make me happy.
Running alongside all the things we do is the Salter Award scheme, where pupils receive recognition for the hours they put into volunteering. We encourage all of our young people helping out with intergenerational activities to log their hours. and I'm sure you'll agree that the numbers speak for themselves. 138 young people signed up, and 11,398 volunteering hours logged so far. More recently, we have worked in school with Black Isle Cares, a local charity supporting socially isolated and vulnerable elderly residents across the Black Isle, to introduce a programme.
Sorry, I've lost a wee bit of that one. I'll just go back to that one.
More recently, we have worked in school with Black Isle Cares, a local charity supporting socially isolated and vulnerable elderly residents across the Black Isle, to introduce a programme of regular activities such as games afternoon and termly lunches. Our partnership with them allows us to provide opportunities for social interaction for the elderly and has been a great way to widen the reach of intergenerational activities across the school. I'll now hand over to Margaret, who will speak about the school's involvement.
As Wanda said, we were lucky to have Black Isle Cares providing the much valued volunteers and transport to ensure that these events went ahead. Oh, shaky hand there. I've recently become a trustee with Black Isle Cares and act as a link between the school and the charity. My involvement goes back several years when I helped students prepare menus and invitations for the first lunch. And as every business studies teacher knows, when there is a need for IT, people seem to come knocking. Our first project to produce a range of marketing materials for the organisation involved senior students who were planning a career in business. They rose to the challenge and created posters, leaflets and business cards, which are still in use today. The relationship was strengthened further when my young enterprise team, Venture, produced and designed Pastimes, a game to encourage generations to get together to talk and reminisce. Black Isle Cares supported them in their research, and indeed the games afternoons became a testing ground for the team. They produced dementia mitts, which, given the lack of knitting skills amongst my senior students, involved lots of grannies in the community getting the knitting needles out. And here you can see Tamsin's granny even came along to their Christmas trade fair to do a live demonstration. The team carried out fundraising for the Black Isle Cares, forging a strong, caring relationship, and the team went on to be very successful nationally themselves. The team reached out to many organisations, and here they are meeting Ron Taylor, Managing Director from Parklands Care Homes, who have recently built a new care home near the school. One of the highlights was a visit from the BBC to film their story and involved Ray, one of the regulars at our Thursday afternoon games. I think this brings together the sentiments of the team and the project very well, and if you just bear with me, I'll get this clip from the BBC News.
I'd look at this to make money. Money's money. Look what you could do with it.
I think I always used to struggle with my older relatives, and definitely looking back, I wish I had maybe made more of an effort, maybe. But it was challenging because you just don't have to say. They've got a lot to say to you, but sometimes it's just about starting that conversation that's tricky.
It's very surprising that they've come and spoke to me in here when we're playing games. That's why I say I enjoy it so much. And I know all the other people do, because it wants something for youngsters these days to talk to you, you know. They think it always goes down and something, but not here. And I have a laugh with them. So that's the main thing.
Members of our team have people in their lives with dementia, and myself, my grandmother has late onset dementia and struggles to make conversation. And I think what we wanted to do was make something that would make it easier for people to communicate, and hopefully that would reduce loneliness, because it's just about getting people to talk to each other.
telling us about your school
The
dinners.
school dinners, yeah.
Yes, I did like them.
We had sandwiches we had to have. We're going back a long time now. A long time.
Across the school, there are departments making use of intergenerational links. The English department visit the Four Ways Club in Cromarty, students from music play at games and lunches, and one of the most successful ventures was the intergenerational choir, with singers aged 3 to 90 taking part. And it's thanks to the PT of Music, Alison Gilliland, and her team for bringing this together. And here they are, singing at the Christmas concert in December 2019.
Feliz Navidad, feliz Navidad, prospero año de felicidad. Feliz Navidad, feliz Navidad, feliz Navidad, prospero año de felicidad. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
For all of us, we were met with challenges in the pandemic and wondered if we would be able to keep intergenerational activities going. But we were acutely aware that members of the community could be feeling isolated and many would not have the social media connections we take for granted. So Wanda and her team worked to get Facebook accounts up and running so they could feel connected and perhaps even listen to Oren, who played his bagpipes every day online. Here we have volunteers from Black Isle Cares about to deliver over 70 letters from our S1 students with Meals on Wheels. The students shared their lockdown experiences, and it was great to see some students that perhaps hadn't engaged with learning fully online giving it a go. And here's Kenzie reading his letter.
Dear Black Isle neighbour, how are you? I wrote this letter to you because I know you won't be seeing many people at the moment. I'm called Kenzie and I live in Off. I am a student at Fort Rose Academy. We learned how to write letters in business studies before we went into lockdown. I get up at 9 every day and register on my laptop. Then I do my schoolwork. When I'm finished, I go outside for a daily walk. When I get home, I usually go on my Xbox and play with my friends online. We play Fortnite, which is a computer game. At the start of lockdown, I thought I would go away quickly. Obviously not. I support Ross County and Hibernian FC. I miss going to Ross County football matches. My hobbies are football and cycling. I cycled from Ock to Cromarty with my dad last week. We stopped at the baker's in Cromarty and I got a cake. I have baked brownies with my sister and cookies with my stepmom, and I've been learning how to cook meals. Last night I made salmon pasta for my family. I was helping my dad paint the shed and the kitchen. My dad has gone through 10 buckets of paint during lockdown. My hair was originally dark, then I dyed it blonde, but I didn't like it, so I shaved it all off as I couldn't get to a hairdresser. Now it has grown back. Yay! Hope you enjoy Meals on Wheels. Take care. Best wishes, Kenzie.
With Black Isle Cares, we got departments on board to produce Christmas cards. We were overwhelmed with the creativity of our young people in the Christmas card competition. The art department came on board and made robins. Students in the English department wrote Christmas poems. S3 admin wrote Christmas letters. The maths teacher helped make decorations. The nursery made calendars. And with baking and gifts from Black Isle Cares, support from the youth development team, the hampers were finally ready for delivery. I must mention Fran Crowhurst here, the intergenerational coordinator with Black Isle Cares, who is a retired teacher herself and understands what daily life is like at school, and this makes for a great relationship. Students continued to engage with partners in online crafting classes and afternoon teas with the Highland Senior Citizens Network, and supporting the community larder along with staff and volunteers. As we look to the future, we're trying to form a plan for the year so that contact is little and often, as we know that helps the community feel remembered. You don't need to look too much at this. This is just to give you an idea of how we sort of plan to spread events out over the session. It's challenging to think about normal, but we hope to return to face-to-face activities, get the choir up and running, and build upon the good work with our existing partners. We plan to work with our new DYW coordinator to get students to think more about the skills they develop. We will link into the school's Super 6 skills, which I'll say more about in a moment. We have a young leaders group set up, and there are plans to invite a young person onto the Black Isle Cares Board as a trustee. In fact, our current secretary is a former student. We can hopefully re-establish work experience in Meals on Wheels and in the office, and explore further opportunities for accreditation. There are courses in the pipeline. For example, Wanda will be running end-of-life first aid. We'd like to see wider departmental involvement, and this is happening. We're excited about the creation of a mural for the community garden with the Art and Technical Department. There is great work being done by young people across the Black Isle, but we recognise there is scope for improvement in some areas. There's the new Parklands Care Home, and we look forward to working with them in a variety of ways. The aim of the Super 6 skills is to get students thinking about the things they do and what skills they are using. We find that students can list skills, but they find it challenging to elaborate and give their own examples. So across the school, this is a key focus. It's simple things like recognising their organisational skills when they meet a deadline so that their Christmas hampers don't become Easter hampers. If you're thinking about starting intergenerational activities, start small. Something simple like a class project to write letters or make Christmas cards. Get yourself a Wanda woman. As our Youth Development Officer, she is hands-on, passionate about what she does and the community we live in. Try to see if your Youth Development Officer can help you get started. Find out about your community in terms of demographics. Who lives there? Is there a care home locally? Speak to your students. Some of our students play bowls, they're in pipe bands, and they know the older community very well. Look inwards. Try to get staff involved from across your school, and look outwards for partnerships such as local organisations like Meals on Wheels and community groups. Find a space. We are very fortunate to have the support of the community library attached to the school. Be inclusive. We have a wide spectrum of students involved in the projects, and this enhances them. I know that many of our older members recognise that some young people lack confidence, and this gives them a sense of purpose when they support and forge a relationship with that young person each week. And obviously there is a need to care and be passionate about what is going on in your community. And I'll hand you over to Val.
In all of this work, it's very important, of course, that we keep an eye on the outcomes. Margaret mentioned our Fortrose Cluster Super 6 Skills Framework. The framework helps our learners to map their progress in their development as confident individuals, successful learners, responsible citizens, and effective contributors. For example, as you have seen throughout this presentation, the relationships that have developed between the generations have been the most important outcome. Young people have developed collaboration and communication skills that will be useful for them now and in the future. Teaching the older generation important digital skills helps our young people to reinforce their own knowledge and skills. The project has helped our learners to develop their employability skills, and in some cases has had a significant impact on their career management, enabling them to make informed career choices. Here's Erin to talk about this aspect.
While I attended Fortrose Academy, I participated in Getting to Know Your Techno and the game sessions. This allowed us to listen to the older people and hear their stories, therefore forming relationships where they felt safe and felt like they could talk to us. These relationships are some that I still have 3 years later. Before the intergenerational activities I participated in through Fortrose Academy, I wanted to study law. However, that changed by participating in these activities, and I am now in my 3rd and final year of adult nursing. Working with these people every week allowed them to feel safe in the community and know that if they needed to, they were able to ask younger people for help.
The project also provided opportunities to enhance young people's achievements. And here's John to tell you about his.
I started volunteering with Wanda for intergenerational games and Get to Know Your Techno. I did this for about 3 years, and with the intergenerational groups, I helped with Easter lunches and a couple of Christmas lunches, and one of them I was even their Santa Claus. I chose to do this not just for the volunteering, but to help the older citizens and also to hear the amazing stories that the older people have. With all the volunteering that I've done, I got the High Life Highland 2019 award for exceptional volunteering and the Young Scot Awards 2020. I am so fortunate to be able to be part of all the amazing work that Wanda and Blackout Cares have done with the senior citizens, and it's with this that I managed to get a job as a youth worker and to be able to carry on with studying health and social care in college.
We have also noted improved outcomes for our participants in terms of attendance, engagement, and pride in being responsible citizens in the local community. Importantly, the older citizens also tell us about improved outcomes from their perspective. Some of the points they have mentioned are an increased sense of community involvement, feeling valued by the school community, meeting older friends from the community who they do not see regularly, developing an increasingly positive view of Fortrose Academy, intergenerational events giving some structure to their week, participating in activities which keep them mentally agile, for example, playing Scrabble, overcoming stereotypical views that older and younger people might hold of each other, feeling remembered at Christmas, which can be lonely for some older people, laughing a lot, and making new friends. We are very proud that over the years, this project has had such a positive effect on our community, and we are always looking for ways to further enhance the relationships between different generations on the Black Isle. Thank you for your time today. We hope you found the presentation interesting and useful. We're happy to try to answer any questions you may have, but will now hand you back over to Frances.
Thank you so much for everybody who has been involved in putting this presentation together. There's a number of comments in the chat about how inspirational it is, how fantastic it is, how refreshing it is, what, you know, the benefits to your community. And I would just also like to I suppose, reflect on the fact that, you know, we are in as Her Majesty's inspectors, we are in an incredibly privileged position in that we actually get to go around a whole lot of different schools at different points, obviously not right this very moment, but in previous times. So I'm hopeful that everybody who's on the call will recognise what we saw and why we wanted to share or highlight this as effective practice across the country. What you have done in your presentation today, Val, and everybody else, is not only demonstrated what you have done and how you are supporting your own community and benefiting everybody from 3 to 90. I love the idea of a choir with 3 to 90 years old, but you know how it has grown from small beginnings and continued to absolutely exemplify everything that we would want from Curriculum for Excellence. And you've you know, gone around all the different aspects of it. You've shown us how that you're measuring impact, etc. All the things that we would like to see. So instead of me wittering on, as I could for a while, is there anybody in the call who would actually like to come in and make any comment? All possibly stunned, because it was a very, very well put together, and as well as the information that was in it, a very well put together presentation. So somebody has just added in, truly inspirational, well done to everyone. If anyone would like to know more about intergenerational work, you can get free training, membership and support from generations working together. and the link is in there. The chat pane will be there for a while. There is a hand up. If I can just find out who that might be, perhaps you can come in. It's not showing me who it is at the moment. Oh,
hello.
Hello, please come in.
Hello. I was just wondering if you can give me a little bit more about the measurement. How did you measure, like, how you were when you started? What was your marks, and what was your kind of milestones? How did you set the milestones for measuring your achievements and progress?
Well, we closely work with Black Isle Cares and the Highland Senior Citizens Network in this, and there's quite a number of evaluations that are done. So they will measure how the community are feeling about their activities, and so we're able to get data and feedback from them as to how the older people are enjoying the activities, and a lot of the comments that you got from Val towards the end, that had come from our intergenerational coordinator, so she sort of gathers feedback and data there as well.
Yeah, and can I also add in there that you saw our Fortrose Super 6 skills. So our young people do self-evaluation around their skills. So we regularly, they use surveys, and at the start and end of projects or even individual lessons, they self-evaluate their work around the Super 6 skills.
Thank you to you both for answering that question. We have one other question in the chat here at the moment from Amy, who has said that when they have been trying to do things, they've struggled to get buy-in from the whole school. Have you got any ideas how you can support them get around that aspect?
I think we said in the presentation to start small and to start with people who are interested and passionate in your school, and then to build on that. And I think, as Margaret said, partnership working with somebody like Wanda, our youth development team, kind of broadens that from the school to the community. Margaret, do you want to add anything else to that?
I think as well, one of the things that we've always done is invite people from the school along to things like lunches. Cakes always do wonderful things, and sort of inviting staff along to these things and meeting the older people. And as Val said, sort of start small. And I mean, we just approached departments with small ideas of things that they could do, and work with them when you're developing your plan. That's one of the things we've done this year, is thinking about how we spread things out over the year and what works best for different departments. So that's been one of the sort of the learning things for us.
I think that just exemplifies as well about working with people and not telling people what they think, isn't it? It's about engaging the whole community and everybody who's involved at the earliest point, so that you're not making decisions for other people, but actually involving them with them.
Definitely, and that's what the whole project is about. It's about relationships. Yeah, so within school, within our school community, and broadening that across our community.
I think as well, I would like to add that we get things back from the partnerships that we're involved in. So, for example, Black Isle Cares, their chairperson will actually come in, and he's a dragon in Dragon's Den. So again, it's sometimes about sort of asking your partners what they can offer the school, and that's a way that you can try and get some of your staff on board as well, because they can see how they can sort of add bits into their curriculum.
It is. It's definitely all about collaboration, isn't it? And I think going back to one of the slogans at the start of the presentation, it was nothing about us without us. So I think that's a key point there.
And absolutely highlighting the importance of relationships and inclusivity, not just in this time. I was doing something yesterday saying it's not just about responding to a crisis, it's about all the time. And, as I said in the introduction, we highlighted this back in December 2019. None of us knew at that point what the future was going to bring for us. However, the foundations that you had established prior to the pandemic surely supported a lot of elderly and perhaps vulnerable, although I was hearing vulnerable, maybe translate that to valuable people now. in your own community, and absolutely breaking the barriers. It was lovely from my point of view to hear the teenagers talking about being able to talk to their own relatives in a different way because of what is happening there. So absolute benefits on both sides, and always. I'm not going to drag this out any longer. If you want to say anything, please do so now, or I'll just bring this to a close. Lots of very, very positive comments from people who are on the call, and obviously we have no idea who is actually on the call at the moment, and nor do you. So I'm sure if anybody wanted any further information, you could contact Fortrose Academy themselves. It's certainly a successful project which continues to grow. You're clearly not standing still. You know, from that 6-week program that you started off, and I'm just imagining my mum trying to work an iPad in 6 weeks, and it probably would take her 10 years. But lovely to see and hear that, you know, these things are actually continuing and evolving and developing as time goes on through all the different aspects, through the Get You Techno, the Dementia Friends, the Macathon lunch. I could have sat and watched that all afternoon rather than just the very small snippet that you showed us. So once again, just huge thank you on behalf of the Scottish Learning Festival, on behalf of Education Scotland, to Fortrose Academy, to everybody who's involved. And I'm not going to start naming because it's clearly too big for me to mention everybody. But particularly at this time, I appreciate the pressures that are on you in schools at the moment. So thank you so much for everyone for taking the time to give us an inspirational and enjoyable presentation. So I would just say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Over and out.
Thank you all.